Hello, Internet. James Allen from Out of 8, and today I'm playing Racing Simulation NASCAR Heat 2. This is a decidedly arcade adaptation of stock car racing, primarily designed for consoles. They did port it over to the PC for its this year. Second version of the game, first version came out last year, which was NASCAR Heat Evolution, which I didn't have a chance to take a look at. But we do have the this year's version ready to go. So, a lot of different racing options here. You have a quick race, which is what I'm going to show off. You also have split screen mode, which is very interesting on the same computer, so that's a nice option there. You also have championship mode, where you can go through a full season in either the Monster Energy Cup Series, the Xfinity Series, or the Camping World Truck Series, so it does have all three series in the game. Or you could just do the playoffs in the Monster Energy Series, which is pretty cool. You also have a bunch of challenges, which I'll show off in a second. You have career mode, which is also a very interesting adaptation there. You start as a driver for hire in the truck series, basically doing a couple races here and there, and then you work your way up to the top series there, so that's pretty cool. And there's also multiplayer, which relies on a host to host the games. My multiplayer experience hasn't been super awesome because usually the host rage quits, a little bit into the game, so... let's talk about the challenges. Challenges, I've tried a number of them, but haven't really been able to beat them. Gives you a driver in a specific situation, a specific track, and then asks you to, basically take them to victory here. My main problem with the challenges is there's no countdown timer for getting control in the game, so it makes it really hard to figure out when you're going to start racing here. So we'll skip the J.B. McMurray intro. So usually you have to restart a couple times to try to figure out where you're actually going to start driving. So I have no idea where. Okay, so right. Okay, so of course it gives me control right in the middle of the corner when I'm like not even accelerating. So I mean, really? No timer, no nothing. Not on the straightaway. No, that would be too silly. So, have to hold off Kyle Busch basically for 5 laps. And that was a pretty terrible corner. Have to brake a little bit in this car. That's Charlotte. The 3 series... I'm actually going to... Oh, that was terrible. I'm actually going to show off the truck series. The cars basically go the same. The Xfinity and the truck series are just slower versions of the Cup cars. They kind of handle the same other than that, which is actually not too far off from the way it is in real life. We'll talk more about the AI when we do the actual truck series race, but I do have some issues with it. My main issue, one of them is if you give the AI room, and I'm doing really bad while I'm talking, they dive into the corner going at a speed that they wouldn't normally go. It's like they coded it to accelerate into the corner and be able to hold its line at that speed, which is pretty ridiculous. The other thing that it does is when you go 3 wide with the AI, it kind of doesn't acknowledge your presence, especially if you're in the middle. It'll just bang you and wreck you out. So it's kind of disappointing there. And I'm doing really bad here, so I'm just going to exit. But anyway, and that's part of the reason why I haven't completed very many of those. But I will do a quick race in the Camping World Truck Series because I think that's a little bit more interesting because it's new. Pick your driver. You could also custom design your own person. I'll do Travis. Then you pick your track. At tracks where they have multiple races in the Cup Series, you can choose between the different events. So like here, you can cycle through the different events here, although they're slightly different lengths. I'm going to do Las Vegas actually. So let me adjust the race settings. You can customize all this. You can have it on auto difficulty, where it'll start out at like some really easy percentage, and then based on how you do, it'll adjust the cars accordingly. And then it gives you a speed rating. For the track. Let me find one that I've done the truck series in. So like 87, which is kind of low for me. I'm usually in the 90s. It does it based off of how you do at that track. And it does it rated differently. Like I've raced a lot of these tracks in the other series, but the numbers don't carry over over here. But what it'll do is it'll automatically bring the cars up and down based on how you are at that track, which is really interesting. Or you could just do a custom difficulty percentage, which I'll probably bump it up to 93. You can do a bunch of different race lengths from 2% up to the full 100, although I wish there were more options other than 25, 50, and 100. It's kind of ridiculous. So I'm going to do 25%. Because it's 25%, I'll do 4x normal. Where I'll do all the flags. We'll do some stage racing. You can also do the full race weekend with practice and full qualifying where you have the qualifying heats. But I'm just going to do a quick qualify for the interest of time. Put full damage on. We'll talk about damage in a little bit. I have stability help off. And then I have automatic transmission on, so we'll accept that. And then we'll do 36 laps at Las Vegas. Toyota Mita. Mita what? Alright, so we're going to qualify first. So single qualifying lap. You can do other camera views if you want, but I prefer the in-car. Just, you know, what I'm used to racing, and pretty much every racing game I do. Vegas is a little bumpy. I usually use my qualifying lap to learn the tracks. The game does not include any tutorials. It does not include a racing line, which I know that these are ovals, so it's pretty easy to figure out, you know, where your braking point is after you've practiced on the track a little bit. But for pure beginners, I mean, this is supposed to appeal, I would say, to more casual racing fans. So why there aren't more help options in the game is kind of silly, because that's way too fast. Alright, so I gotta brake a little bit or lift a little bit earlier. The cars are very tight off, at least when I was racing them initially. They don't seem to have as much grip in the middle of the corner as in other titles. Now you can go in and adjust the setups a little bit, and I'll show that off when we go to the race trim. What did I get? That's the 5th, even though that was a terrible lap. Truck Series, you know, not as fast as the Cups. Alright, so you could choose the default, so you can do custom race setup, go to the garage, and you can actually go in and change all that stuff, which is pretty cool. So it does give you a lot of options there to go in. I'll just use the default race setup to do that. Alright. Everything is automated. Green flags are automated. Pit stops are completely automated. So there isn't any strategy or skill you can interject into there to give you an advantage. You can't jump the start or, you know, even if you're the leader, you don't get to choose when you start, even though there's the restart zone. Here goes the AI. 3 wide, so this should be fun. Yeah, your spotter is inconsistent at best. If I get told to take it easy like one more time, I'm going to strangle him, figuratively, because he's, you know, not real. Sometimes they'll forget that there's cars in the bottom. They won't, you know, continually tell you. They won't tell you gaps to the cars in front or behind ever. The interface is very, you know, designed for the consoles. It's very simplified. I need to get going here. And there's a lot of beating and banging, you know, Rubbin's racing with the AI. Just need to get away from these people. Got 5 to go on the stage. I like the stage racing this season. It makes it more interesting in the middle of the race. Personal opinion. The graphics are okay. The one thing that really bothers me, this is turned up all the way. Oh, crap. And no wreck. The one thing that bothers me is there's very distinctive lines in the horizon along the track for where the quality of the fence shadows change, and you may be able to see it. The sun angle is such that you probably won't be able to see it too well on this track. But it's very noticeable and distracting, and there's nothing you can do to turn it up. There's very few graphics options. It's basically just low, medium, high, and that's it. So, Yeah, shut up. I want to, like, actually do good, so I'm not going to take it easy. That was bad. And if I can get top 5 out of this, that's kind of what I want out of the percentage that I picked. I like racing the trucks, actually. So it's easy, you know, they're not as fast, easier to, you know, don't have to brake as much going in the corner. Good for beginners, good place to start the career mode. Like I said, if you accelerate too early, you just go straight out to the outside wall with the setup here. It's, again, another kind of beginner thing. They're shooting for more accessibility with a tighter setup because, you know, it's really hard to drive a loose race car. Shut up. Let me get the position. 2 wide, the AI will stay out there most of the time, but 3 wide, they just kind of ignore where you're at. You might let Matt get the stage here. Yep, there it goes. So, if you're far enough back, you don't even get to race to the line for the stages. It just stops you in the middle of the corner. It's pretty crazy. So, I got a pit. So what was that stage, like 7 laps? So this is all the automation here. So you just pick pit. I'm going to turn repair off. Get 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires. You can do some car adjustments there. Press accept. And then you just press A to pit, and it's going to skip anyway when the timer runs down. That's more for online racing, so everybody has a pick in. And then you're back to the green flag. And 3 cars stayed out, which they're going to have to pit anyway. So, and then that's it. You know, no going around during the yellow flag, no anything with your pit stops. That's it. It's all automated, which is fine. It's fine to have the option to be automated, but I would like to have the option to have it not automated. And I'm going to talk about this a lot at the end. But it's the difference between this game and like F1, where F1 has the option to automate things, but also has the options to do them manually. And that's really how you make a game that appeals to both casual fans and sim racers, is you give them the option to do either way. And this does not give you the option to do it either way. This gives you the option to do it automation only. So I think a certain audience of people will be disappointed in that. Especially when you could just change it, you know? I don't know why you would take away options. You know, no holding your speed on pit road, no coming out of the pit box, no navigating the traffic. You know, pretty disappointing in that aspect. Alright, so this stage is 8 laps. I gotta figure out my fuel. Yeah, Matt, you're still in front. Not for long. I will say one thing I kind of like about the force feedback. When you're in the draft, it vibrates your controller. That's a really handy way of kind of knowing, other than the fact that you're directly behind the car in front of you, but kind of knowing that you're, you know, picking up speed in that sense. So it's kind of a nice little feature there. I'm used to being able to just find any information on here, like fuel, tire wear, gap to the cars, anything. And it just tells you nothing at all. It's crazy. Now you do have a fuel gauge, which tells you literally the percentage of fuel that you have left, which is obviously not the way that they do it in, real NASCAR racing. Which in this car is partially covered up by the steering wheel. And you kind of have to figure out the pit strategy yourself. The AI doesn't do a super fantastic job. On longer races, they won't pit during the stage breaks, but then they'll have to come in and then you just basically lap the field. Because you go in during that break and then everyone else is to come in under green. I'd really like to get a stage win. That'd be nice. Not that it really matters. Ooh, on the outside. Go on the outside. You can hold it. Trying to concentrate on this last lap so I don't get past, but I think I'm pretty good. Wish I knew what the gap was. Yeah, and as an example, here's your pause menu. I mean, that's it. That's all you get. You can't adjust options or anything. You get, yeah, and then you accidentally press the restart button and have to do the race all over again. It's crazy, Like I said, consoles first. Simplifications first. Alright, stage 1. I'm awesome. Alright, so now I gotta think about fuel. I mean, I'm gonna pit. I'm probably gonna have to pit twice. If I had to guess. 20 laps. Ugh. Nah, I can't. I don't think I can do it. So we'll pit. I don't think I could stay out and then just pit once. So we'll just do that again, and then we'll go to green. Yeah, everybody pitted anyway. I have gotten in trouble before where I stayed out and everyone else pitted, or I pitted and everyone else stayed out, and I ended up starting in last. But then I just stopped my car in the middle of the racetrack and wrecked everybody, and then got the wave around and then won the race because I pitted and then everyone else had to pit later. The cautions are very inconsistent. You can have a single car wreck in the back of the field and they'll throw a caution out. But then if you wreck somebody, they'll come spinning around and have multi-cars involved and then they won't throw a caution. It's very inconsistent at best. So we're going to have to pit. But we'll wait in case there's a caution till later on. Yeah, here he comes zooming back. Like I said, I swear they speed up the cars or trucks when you do that. Like, they're going like 20 miles an hour faster than you. Or at least it seems like it. Which they're not going, they're not that much faster than you if you go up a lane. Maybe I'm wrong. Probably not, though. He's going to do the crossover move on me, isn't he? Why am I taking it easy? When it's just you and the AI car, they will actually slow down so they don't wreck into you some of the time. But when there's other AI cars around them and things are going 2 wide and 3 wide, they just... your priority is lower, you know? They won't give you room, they won't avoid you, they'll run into you and stuff. Hello? Crowd cheering sounds like there's water running in the background. And they only do that when there's a change for the lead, too. Ooh. Sorry. Now, will there be a caution? For that? When the leader wrecked? In the middle of the racetrack? No. Oh, no, there we go. There is one. Ooh. Well, I went 8. Well, with the caution laps, I think I could go here from the rest of the way. I'm not going to repair. How? How did I lose that many positions when I pitted? I said no repair. Did they do 2 tires or something? I have no idea. But I'm staying out the rest of the way. Well, now I'm going to have to navigate through the field. This is probably better for the video, but worse for me. Alright, this is going to be fun. Again, I have no idea why I lost that many positions when I pitted. When everyone else is pitting too. I don't know if it's because it took 4 tires. Or what. Just pass everybody on the outside. Go. Go, people. That's bad. Waited too long to brake. Cars are, you know, definitely race close together, that's for sure. The game really penalizes wall riding too. That slows you down a whole lot if you end up doing that. So you gotta stay off the wall. I'm sure as a, you know, way of combating that, just flooring it and riding the wall all around the racetrack. Again, why is he able to dive in so fast in the quarter? I don't know. Huh, you guys want to go 4 wide? Okay, that sounds great. That's going to be a great idea. Yeah, 4 wide. Sure, why not? Now I'm 3 wide in the middle. See, I'm wondering if these guys didn't pit. I'm going to have to start pitting soon. Gotta get around these guys. Losing so much time. Where'd he go? No, I got top 5, so it's not too bad. It's nonsensical pit something or other. I don't even know. Okay. Oh, you kidding me? No, I'm not pitting. Literally right before we got the checkered flag. So we're gonna go into overtime. It's so insane. Again, can't jump the restart. Oh, I'm going 3 wide for the lead. That's fun. Come on, people. These guys are insane. I know, but we're alright. It's the last lap. I'll take 3rd. Especially with that dumb pitting thing. 98, that's probably about right. For me, mid-90s. I had the fastest lap. Alright, there you go. That's NASCAR Heat 2. Add that to my truck series thing. There you go. Back out of here. Alright, so it's not all bad. You know, it is an arcade racing game, which is fine. You know, not everything has to be a sim, but I would like there to be the options to not automate certain things. Good things in the game, I like having all 3 series. I like the way the career mode works, where it starts you out in the truck series as kind of a journeyman driver, and then you work your way up. I also like how it has the auto-adjusted difficulty options, where it'll change the difficulty at each track based on your performance and gives you the speed rating at the end. That's really handy. I like that a lot. Also has the different modes. The challenges could be better, like with the countdown timer to tell you when you're actually going to start racing. The online multiplayer, you know, relies on other people to act as hosts, so you can run into issues there. Quick races are fine. You know, you get options there on race length, although I'd like more percentages other than 25, 50, and 100 when you get into longer races. And then being able to do stage races and stuff like that is nice. The AI has some issues. Most of the time it's okay. It's not okay when you go 3 wide into the corner. It also dives into corners going way faster than it should probably be able to if you give it a lane up the racetrack. The game has too much automation that's completely mandatory. You can't control your car during restarts. You can't control your car during pit stops. It's fine to have that stuff automated, but you also need to give the player the option to not automate that stuff if they want to manually do it. Interface also doesn't provide enough information, doesn't give you lap times, to the times to the cars in front of you or behind you. It only gives you information about when it's time to pit right before your fuel runs out. Doesn't give you any tire information or anything like that. Sometimes it forgets about cars that are to your inside or your outside, which extends to the spotter, not being the best there. So, the game also doesn't have any tutorials. It doesn't have any track lessons on how to drive a track. It doesn't show the best line to use around the racetrack. The damage, although I didn't show it there, damage can be repaired very quickly on pit road, so it's not very realistic. You'll rarely get out of the race. I've flipped my car over before and repaired it in 3 seconds on pit road. The caution flags are also very inconsistent. Sometimes you'll get a caution for like that phantom caution at the end of the race there that NASCAR likes to throw for single car wrecks seemingly, but then you'll wreck a car and then they won't throw a caution. It doesn't really make any sense in how inconsistent it is. The handling is fine, I guess. Basically every vehicle is tied off, I think, to make it easier to drive. The difference between all the 3 series is that the trucks and the Xfinity cars are just a little bit slower than the Cup cars, which honestly is fine for the type of game that they're doing. But overall, there's enough bad things to make this not a recommended title for those looking for a NASCAR game, even for those that are just looking for a more simplified experience. In a game like this, the thing that matters the most is the AI. And the AI just doesn't race consistently enough and pay attention to the human driver enough to really make the game have compelling racing. You can forgive some of the other shortcomings if the racing itself is good, but in a racing game, the AI has to be solid, and it's not as solid as it needs to be here. And you can also compare this game to the F1 series by Codemasters. How much I would love for Codemasters to start doing the F1 or doing NASCAR again, because this, how slick their F1 game is compared to this is just miles ahead. Of how much better that game is. Now, to be fair, they've been developing the same game basically for 5-6 years in a row. But all the options in there, the quality of the AI, all the information feedback you get. It's just so superior in that series than it is in the NASCAR series. And it's kind of sad because I actually enjoy NASCAR way more than F1. But the F1 game is better. So because of the shortcomings in the game in NASCAR Heat 2, this is a game that I cannot recommend. That's all I have for today. Till next time, bye now.